Well, welcome back. And in today's video diary, we are going to be reflecting on the month of March. This was our Leaping Dimensions with Mysterious Skin playlist of the month. And if you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Fabian. I go by Rockwell as well. And yeah, we have been kind of going through different playlists that I get to make throughout the month. I feel like we all do them. It's all kind of like a collective hobby if you really enjoy music to just have a nice monthly playlist. But if you are insane slightly like me, then I don't fucking know. The point is that we're here to talk about music. We're here to talk about some art kind of mediums. And yeah, if you like that kind of stuff, welcome. So, just to get kind of right into it, let's reflect on March a little bit first. The videos that you guys have had so far basically have been very more or less in line with their respective months. They're still, like I did January, like early February, and then I February I filmed, whatever. It doesn't really matter too much. But the point is, like, this video is so far the furthest past its like filming date that I've had in a while. So it's funny that March does feel more like a reflection. Um, and April has already been filled with all of its own little things. So it's quite going to be quite the little experience that we get to have, quite the conversation that we get to have today, being that it's more of a remembrance rather than a direct correlation at this time. However, I think it's kind of perfect and a little bit meant to be this way because March, as I recall, was so energized. There was such a confidence that I had carrying with me, and life was lifing in like such a beautiful little way. And so, like, that delayed amount of energy that I was looking for to come really in February kind of came within that last bit of February through most and majority of the month of March. And yeah, it was a really beautiful month. From what I remember, there was just lots of color, lots of positivity. There was a lot of new experiences, and there was a lot of also inspiration at the time. So I was carrying a lot of that with me, and it was really good to have that height. And then the end. Yes, everything has an end, guys, unfortunately. So, not that we aren't still inspired, confident, and XYZ. There's just not like a God. This is a conversation for April. This is a conversation for April. I want to keep it about this one. It's nice in times like these where, like, this is the point of the diaries for me, is that I can reflect and look back on what things were like then. But I will want to remember as well, like, when something was very closely aligned versus something that was maybe more of, like I said, a remembrance of sort. And so I was so involved and present and everything during this month. And so, like, this playlist um that we're about to get into was really quite something else and quite the experience, and reached a level of personal creativity that I was really looking forward to and felt that I was going to have a challenging time with, because I started to very early on recall our last video diary series. And I remember talking about March last year and creating its playlist and everything. And like, it's really nice to see the things in my life that are still the same. And it's really cool to see how much stuff changes in a year. And kind of think about things like that. So going from like a very like spring to spring kind of conversation, and then one day I just let go of it, which is a really beautiful thing. And it was like, I am not going to sit here and try to make something be or better than what it was before, but rather than focus on it just being its own thing, because it is the now and it is the thing that we exist in today. And so this playlist is really that. With that being in mind, welcome to our Leaping Dimensions with Mysterious Skin. And this is an episode that I do think I've been slightly procrastinating. But I wanted to be at a good place with it. And funny enough, the other day I tried recording a video and didn't I didn't set everything up in the right way that I usually do. I'm very comfortable here with the way we have our conversations, and no, I don't have the most ideal set up to film this stuff, but it is a way that is really comfortable for me. And I think that's really important, especially when people have their spaces. So I started a convo. It was maybe about like 5 or 10 minutes, and I was just like, this isn't right. But I was in the right mindset the other day. So let's get into it. What the heck does that even mean? Leaping dimensions with mysterious skin. Well, last month we were talking about like, very like scientific words and like um infinite is kind of in line with that. I was getting the word quantum a lot, and there were a lot of different words, very, very, very specific words that kept appearing like all over March. And I saved a lot of them because I do think they are words that are going to have meaning down the line. And it was really a nice little puzzle to figure out the language of what the title of what this would be and the language around it. So I ended up, I think, figuring out the title sooner rather than later when the month started. um, and it was very much inspired by this idea of a quantum leap, and I felt very resonated to that concept in this month, and it really just so happened to like parallel February's playlist a lot, in this higher like sense of gratitude as a person, and just like we tend to have like our own little personal evolutions and in life, and so I feel like I was feeling the energy of all of that greatness very early on in this time. And so it felt like that. It felt like, I don't know, you can be on top of the world at times. And that's a win that we deserve to be in. We just can't be cocky about it, okay? Um, and so I felt like that. I just felt really good. The energy was right, and I felt like I could make anything happen. And I'm doing all of that wearing this mysterious skin, which is a really nice callback to the idea of a chameleon, which is something that I mentioned the February prior. So it just all really kind of married together. And it's like this like we are that. We are ever changing people full of multitudes. And like it is just a like simple choice away from what the next thing in our lives could really be. So that was really the title. Um, to talk a bit about our photography in this, just to bring up a nice little artistic medium. This shot is so fucking blue. It's not even funny. And I love it so much for that reason. And this picture was really hard for me to capture, especially after I named it. And I was like, how the hell am I going to come up with a picture that kind of represents this? And then again, I told you guys I felt so good about February's picture. I was like, there's no way I can have a follow up. And I really like this picture. I think somehow even better than February's picture, and it just captures this world and essence that I was feeling in March like this. Um, I just so happened to go on a really late night run, and it was like one of those days where like oh, well, like it's really dark out already. It's late. Like I really shouldn't. But I said, you know what? F that. I can do this in an hour before the sun sets. And this was while the sun was pretty down. Um, and this is an area that wraps around like a boating dock. It doesn't really look like a boating dock in this unless you like kind of really play within the picture. But the first photo I really wanted was um, a very low captured still of the boat docks. They always have like the walkway and then they have like the stems where the boats like go into. But right now, because it's so cold, they're still empty. There are no boats in it. And all you can see everywhere are the little specks of light. And I really loved how the light was reflecting off of the water and stuff. And this blue light caught my attention. But there are some things in life that we see that just can't fully be captured on a camera lens. In, oh, okay, that was weird. Um, like the moon, for example, is something we can't. And a lot of times, light tends to be complicated to capture as well. And so while I got this really pretty picture that was originally going to be the cover, it just didn't feel 100% right. And I came across this door, and just the way the door looks kind of slightly ominous. It's all made of steel. We know how I feel about metals and how we resonate with that. And it was just perfect. So I took some pictures of this close up, far away, whatever, but there was something distinct about the parking lot gray that I really liked in contrast with the dark blue in the sky. And the blue in the sky, I feel like really makes this photo, especially because you can slightly see things in the back. And, you know, your eyes are centered and focused on the doorway, which is outlined in a blue frame. Like, come on. That was a good design choice. And it had this letter E, and this struck me on it. And I know that's probably how they just number the docks and stuff. Like, oh, your boat is in dock E, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. I'm no boater. And all I could think of in my head was this word escape. And it just felt so connected with the title and the feeling in within this month. And I hope that it's a feeling that resonates within music because music does feel for us like an escape. So, long explanation about the photo, but that was kind of it. It was just a really nice day, and I just so happened to like my eye was on sight, like and locked, and you know, I knew there in that night that like that kind of had the essence of what I needed. I'm very happy that it happened twice. I'm very happy with it. I love this photo so much, and it's very different from I don't know, like what I would normally, I guess, use as a playlist cover. Um, but I love me some still setting pictures, you know? And yeah, let's talk about our biography though. Okay. Didn't write a long one, and this will tell us a little bit more about how the vibes were. Okay. And the vibes speak and say, escape is the word I find when I see this picture. Its bright blueness capturing the scientific essence of this title. On this on the last day of our colorfully spread month, we feel a quickened pace like never before, like being an expert riding a monorail. This feeling of steel and space ever so present to me in odd ways, in its language, in its music. Songs like Service Station at the End of the Earth, hinting at fantastical natures. Read poetically like a diary along smooth alternative beats. This world of sound is something quite like no other, with recurring moments of starts and stops. movement through the motions as light rotating around planets and whispers of a voice gone in passing. Artists are back and instruments surrounded in their nature remain present. You can find sounds of violins, flutes, drums, and beams. Enter through a garden and leave holding the spacecraft controller. From my heart to yours, if you need it, Fabian M. Because sometimes it is good for you guys to know my real last name, not my artist name. And sometimes it comes from such a place like that. And I felt like this. Rockwell didn't make this fucking playlist. Fabian Marquez made this fucking playlist. Um, and yeah, I love how shortly and concisely I wrote that because to be honest, the music in this one is where everything's at, and everything I need to possibly say. And I streamed my own playlist like the fuck out of it during this month. And like sometimes I forget just how much like music really is one of my truest friends and like most beautiful relationships. And I feel like I have a lot to learn with how much care and effort I put in um, like this kind of stuff with where it should be placed later, but that is a whole different conversation. With that being said, let's talk music, and we're going to get into some albums first. So, in March, we had an album by Saint Motel. They created an album called Symphony in the Sky, and this is a long, lengthy teased record of theirs. And it started sometime last year, and they gave a good widespread kind of rollout of their singles, and all of their artwork has been very lightly drawn, inspired. Like I don't know, like they look like little drawings to me, and then they're like converted into these like really nice, almost like painting esque covers. And I was drawn to their album cover because it was all blue. And it's just this really nice figure of a white outlined figure staring at the night sky, like just kicking your feet off the side of the road. I mean, off the side of the roof, you know? Um, and so the concept of symphony in the sky sold me. And you guys, if there is one thing that will get me, it is a good concept. Um, and yeah, the art was consistent, so I can't even be mad about it. I can't say that I've invested fully in like the visuals or like music videos. I haven't followed them too strongly over the last couple of years, and just some slight backstory. A bit really big fan of Saint Motel, especially on it in the early days, and I am very loyal to the artists that I like. And I did. I feel like they hit some bumps and rocks like along the way after some of their records. My personal favorite is always going to be Voyeur. Um, there was just something in that project that really carried, I don't know, something. But the thing about Saint Motel is they have their own sound completely, and they are very much their own people and know exactly the kind of music they like to make. It is a little bit more positive, but I liked that in this project of theirs, and I feel confident to speak about this one now because before I filmed this, I hadn't invested so much in the record itself either. I maybe gave it like one strong comb over. And then I was listening to the songs that I really, really enjoyed. And there is one on here on this playlist that we will talk about. Um, and oh, I'm glad I didn't do that. Okay. It was a beautiful project, very beautiful project. One of my more recent adored projects of theirs, the last few, and it's finally an album that I'm just like, man, I would love to go see you guys again because I have a thing where it's like Now, if an artist makes a really good full bodied project that I enjoy, I would want to go support them. They are unfortunately coming on a day where I already had tickets to another artist. Um, and I will most likely always choose a woman over a man any day. So that's crazy work. But like, yeah, I don't know. So I really want to see them. I wanted to see this tour. I want to see their rendition of a lot of this stuff live because I think within some of the elements they would be able to stretch it out and play with the sonic landscape a bit more in a live setting than what we got as a project. Um, and so for me, I do think I give it a solid like 7 out of 10. Um, because after my couple of comb overs and where I'm at now with their project, um, it's beautiful, and like I said, they are who they are. I maybe enjoyed like a good 6 tracks, and again, with any record, it is possible to need just more time with things, or maybe it hits later down the road. And I always tend to recycle through people's music at some point, anyways. But in this year, I'm only holding on to what really I feel like I need. Um, and so they made such a good cohesive body at work. It is good through and through. And it just, I felt like for me, lacked a little bit of what the title is talking about. This symphony, this grandeur. And there's a couple of tracks towards the end of the record that really nail this in the ground and like so good. Um, like Low Space Orbit and um, some other ones that I can't really think of right now. But yeah, like that's basically the point. So I feel like I never had this moment of like a big grand symphony, and like there are plenty of the instruments that would be used in a symphony within the project. But I really would have liked this elongated, drawn out, and like slight more play on like the dreaminess aspect of it. Like we're talking about like something that is a fantasy. And for me, like one or two songs with maybe like a nice symphonic, like I'm talking about a good minute, minute and a half length worth of just pure instrumentation would have really put this one on a nice little cloud for me. Which doesn't make it any less of a good project or any less of an artistic thing, but that's just kind of how I feel and where I'm at with it. But the songs I do really like from this project are really fucking good. Um, Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, a bluer blue, low Earth orbit, and slowly spilling out. Like so fucking good. Banks. Banks came out at the end of February, and we talked about this before. We know how I feel about this. So, a February 28 album is not a February album. It is going to be, it's dropping literally the night of March. So, we're listening to Banks all of March, right? Everybody's on it? Everybody? Okay. If you're not on it, get fucking on it. Again, Banks is another conversation topic that just you are going to like artists, and as fans we have to just stick around because sometimes artists are going to do projects that we're not going to exactly resonate with. And Banks had that moment for me with her last record, and this one, Off With Her Head, completely for me, Banks's energy is back, and I just feel like a lot of artists are in their authentic roots again. They're inspired, they're creative as hell. Banks has such a good concept around it. And I'm just loving all the neutral colors. I think maybe because I just like earth tones, anyways, that the coloring of everything has sold me already. But the album itself is so good, you guys. Like, it's straight up a strong 8 out of 10 project for me. And for the first couple of weeks, it really was 10 out of 10 and like a low key personal album of the year already. Um, it just, with time, like there were certain tracks where I was like, I am having a hard time with this. And I was giving certain things like more than 5, 6, 7 listens to really see where like I settled with it. And like by those times, like if you're not really resonating with a song, then it's like, okay, we can let it go. In that though, in my last real revisit with it, I did connect with more songs that I hadn't in the past because I was literally listening to and enjoying some of the other songs a little bit more. And I think that's important too. I think when we find songs that we really like, we should spend time with them. We should listen to them a bit and, infuse them with ourselves. And at some point, you're going to crave, that extra um, work. You're going to want more. You're just going to be like, I love, love, love this song, but I want more from this artist. And so that's why, like, those natural revisits are going to happen because you're going to walk into these cravings in spontaneous times. So Banks, 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 like the opening track, Guillotine, River, the closing track, Off with Her Head. Um, there's that song on here called Stay, I believe, and everything is just so good. She just nails that like gritty alternative pop, that dark feminine, so to speak. Me and my friend have been talking about the dark feminine, and like I am just over the moon about Banks, this project, I have to say. Um, we'll get into some songs though a little bit later, and I don't want to. We have a couple extra albums to talk about, so I don't want to take too much time on each of them. But another important thing to talk about, and this was a very girls dropping month. Like the girls were serious in March, one of them being Lisa of Blackpink. And I've enjoyed Blackpink's solo releases just as a concept because you can tell that this was intentionally set up for them to all release around the same time and just be prepared for like this grand tour. And so I really want to go to it just because of that. Because it's going to like highlight key Blackpink moments, and it's also going to highlight, a nice, more intimate aspect of their solo projects. And I just feel like culturally, that's something that is going to be very beautiful to witness. Um, and so it's been nice following, the girls. Two of my, well, I love all of them. I really do. Lisa, I feel like, is everyone's first favorite, right? And Jenny is just like undeniably like a bad bitch. Hold on. But yeah. So the girls are doing it, right? Lisa came out with Alter Ego, and we got to talk about it. It's challenging because, like, on one end, we understand that, like, pop artists have teams, right? So this is a collective body of work. The thing and the challenge and struggle that I find with artists that are team based have a harder time shining through with their authenticity and voice. And I feel like Lisa's team was putting out hit after hit after hit, right? Like they are all good. Rockstar was really good. New Woman was good. Wonderful collab. I personally really like Moonlit Floor, I believe. Um, and then the Ray Doja collab. Such a good song. Um, I again, yeah, like some of them are a little bit more pop formulated, so they don't have as much of a like uh significant impact for me or weight. But then we get this album, and it felt formulated, I feel like, with Lisa's. Because then all of a sudden you're getting I'm trying to find it. you're getting that the concept of the playlist is alter egos, and her website was so well done, and it starts to show her little alter egos and like the characters and stuff. And I just feel like this could have had a more impactful marketing strategy around it, to make more sense conceptually, because you're getting just Rockstar and it's this steel star aesthetic, and then you're getting New Woman and it's very bare and clean and gritty, and then um, like very like disco and stuff. So it's like the last video you get is the first one when it's Fuck Up the World, and her character is Vixie. And it's the first time you see like a character's resemblance really strongly. And I feel like if the title and concept was set in stone a while ago, then they could have released it in a way where like each video started with like a little text or something, and it was just like from the mind of like Vixie or something. I don't know. Like we're playing around with AIs a lot and stuff, and so like maybe Lisa is the main AI and these are programmed personalities, and all of them are a pop star or something. And yeah, so I just wish the releases were slightly more organized to make sense with the personalities, because you listen to this body of work and there are different genres, and there is a music song or something for somebody, everybody. Like there will be something in this project for everybody. But again, that can also be a project's downfall. And I have a feeling, I wonder if like this project would have made more sense if it was released in like small single releases or EP formats and then combined at the end. And I really dislike that kind of rollout. But I think if they focused on one personality at a time and created this really long drawn out era of alter ego, it could do really well. And it would have to work with like one video per personality and like three songs per personality as well. So then when you get this album, you have it like to tell a story of like this character going through the different personality stages, but like you're getting the vibe in there. I like it all mixed up in there as well, but it is really hard to find a distinction into what who would be. And that brings me to the cover. I felt like her album cover, as beautiful and gorgeous and conceptual concepts as there are within the world of Lisa, we chose this picture of her face zoomed in. And I'm so tired of just the bare face zoomed in. Because yes, we know who Lisa is, and it is a pretty cool picture. But to name it Alter Ego, like it just doesn't correlate. Like it just didn't correlate for me, like this picture, the title, and the project. um if if that makes sense. And I'm not trying to bash on Lisa or her team. Again, like I said, positive notes. There's a song for everybody in here, and I like a lot, a good chunk, like a good 6 or 7 songs out of it. But it just doesn't feel like a strong solo project, and it's so scattered in places and ideas that it's really hard to feel like all of this really is who Lisa is. You know what I mean? um, More than it was just a idea conceptualized to be given to Lisa, which is something we'll talk about in a sec. But yeah, so probably like a 5.5, 6 out of 10 for me as far as a project goes. I am still listening to things. I love Dream off of this record. I even like that song Chill. And I do kind of like Lifestyle. And there's a lot of really good production qualities and playful things and like emotional heights and drops and stuff. And they did really try to showcase a range that Lisa is capable of. I just feel like that range could have a more stripped back focus where it needs to be, so that like those moments are really highlighted and captured, because I just feel like there are other details that really makes that kind of quality lost in translation. So that's where I am with that project. To go right into a big one and to give us a like breather sort of Blackpink girls, We're going to speak about Lady Gaga and her record, Mayhem. Mayhem is a project that 100% goes back to Gaga's roots as an artist and that whole trend of reheating nachos. We have to talk about it. Um, Gaga isn't undeniably like force to not be reckoned with, basically, because she is one hell of an artist and does one fuck ass of a good job. Um, and I agree with everyone. We are seeing a height of Lady Gaga that has been missed for a while, but I also hate when people like project what they want an artist to do and be. So, sorry. Um, Mayhem was really good. I would give Mayhem a strong 8 out of 10. I would. But I want people to understand that it's not a perfect album either. And this is another one that has things that people will like and people won't like. But this one, on the other end of, you know, albums that we're talking about, is cohesive as hell and actually does experiment in places and did bring out um, sonic elements that like reappeared and things didn't just happen and like made no sense somewhere. Everything made sense in this project. I personally think we could have had a more resonating album cover. I do understand the whole like breaking the mirror concept and this idea of mayhem as a caricature in our good Gaga's life. It just wasn't really here. Like, it just wasn't really there for me as far as an album cover, but I also haven't seen anything conceptually that would fully capture this idea of, and like it's so simple because it's just a mirror that's cracked and shattered. And so, like, you see these like different like glimpses of Gaga in that mirror, but you still mostly see her. And I don't know, I think maybe it's just so simple for me that like I everything else that's so creative, like maybe in a world there is something that represents it a little bit more for me, but it doesn't not represent it either. Is like what I don't want to get confused. Um, but yeah, it's just a little barren, and it is just again her face. Um, and there's something so cool about like playing with a cover. What she has been nailing though is these motherfucking music videos, and oh, man, the singles were a good rollout. They were slightly confusing, and but everything clicked as soon as you had this entire project. And there is maybe like 3 or 4 tracks that I don't connect with fully, and I would maybe give it some time. And there are some songs that like, well, there's one song in particular. I'm trying to proceed with caution because I know that I do not share something that a lot of people agree with. And I will like take accountability. There is something I don't fully see in this project just yet, so I want to give it some more time. I don't know whether that's a disconnect with pop music that I've been having lately. I don't know if it's like um sort of like reused ideas and elements that like, but I can't say that I don't feel like this isn't an authentic body of work to Gaga. It does. It feels very realized, and it feels very energized at the same time, which is a beautiful thing to witness. Personal favorites: Shadow of a Man, Zombie Boy, um, Garden of Eden is really good. We all can't lie. And this project did make me really finally like Disease, having everything else. And some people just need that sometimes. Still, personally, prefer the Antidote version. And I feel like that would have heightened some of this project a little bit more if we had slowed down in moments, or played around with lengths of some of the songs that like, I don't know, like she worked with the Gesaffelstein, and for me and like what his work does, their collab definitely threw me off a little bit. But like they just threw out like the Abracadabra remix, and that's like more in line of what I would have been thinking, I think. So it's really cool to see them both experiment within their realms, but taking that kind of essence of what Gesellschaft can do could have been scattered in places within the album as well. And so I really would have liked Mayhem to play around with some lengths and challenge these pop structure standards, um, that we see within like the formulas of how you make a pop song. That's not saying or discrediting that she didn't try a lot of really cool things with this project. She did. And she married a lot of sounds, vocal abilities, and all kinds of things. Honestly, some of her vocal abilities in this project are some of the best we've ever heard. Um, what I'm enjoying about Mayhem the most, though, is the live aspect of this life, and it's giving it such a fresh breath of air. And, seeing her perform on SNL, she is just, again, like a force of nature right now. And then we just seen her Coachella performance, and honestly, Gaga is her own empire, and like, I don't know, it's amazing to witness like an artistic career that Gaga is doing. Like her Coachella performance was definitely like one of the best things I've seen there in years since Beyonce. Like if we're all being honest. Um so yeah, I don't know. Mayhem. 8 out of 10. Say, those are just my thoughts. Let's get back into some Blackpink though. We're gonna talk about Jennie's album, Ruby. And I don't know if Ruby was like a character concept or if Ruby is a slight alter ego in a sense for Jennie as well. However, I liked this idea of just playing with Ruby Red as a concept. And so Jennie has had this very red overall aesthetic. Um, and was the only artist that I seen really resonate the most with her project. And it's the only artist I feel out of all the girls that made an authentic body of work, even though you can tell she worked with a team. But it feels so like Jennie wanted to put this album out. Like Jennie genuinely invested in this, and you see it all over. She has the most like music videos for her fucking album. She went and did the Ruby Experience as an intimate tour run, and the music just fucking hits in that project, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. That is like an 8 out of 10 project as well. Um, and like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like they put every ounce of effort into what this was. And so Ruby Red is a really fun project. Of course, there are things I don't resonate with either. I probably saved the same amount of songs as I did for Lisa's record, but it has so much more replay value to me than some of what the other girls have put out. And this was like genuine storytelling, like Damn Right with Kali Uchis and Childish Gambino, like a flawless no note song. Soul City cuts. Just fucking I just don't understand. Like it's all so good, and I just like, to put it for you guys this way, Jennie is not my favorite girl of the Blackpink girls, and I can admit this. Like I feel like everybody can see it and feel it. And this isn't to put women against each other. It's just a little playful thing, right? Because we support all of the women. We fucking love Rose. We love Jennie. We love Lisa. We love Jisoo. We love Jisoo. So like, but this is just perspectives on the albums, and these are their solo careers. And like, it felt like this was a genuine solo career decision versus a label decision to, well, if one of the artists are doing a solo project, they should all do a solo project. That doesn't need to be the case. It is really fun, but I just hope that for future projects, a lot of them can feel like their individual work really resonates because they needed to do an individual release for themselves, that is separate from what Blackpink does as a group. Does that make sense? We're understanding? Cool. Not a 2025 project, but an essential thing to talk about because I did listen to it in March and it really helped open my world. And I haven't resonated with music like this in a long fucking time. But Magdalena Bay Mercurial World is a 10 out of 10 project if I have ever heard a 10 out of 10 project. The construction of it is so beautiful. They start at the end and end at the beginning, and it just creates this perfect fucking transcendental loop of the most gorgeous fucking music you have ever heard. And they take experimentation with music on a whole other level. It's not going to be everybody's bag of tea or vibes, but it is a very colorful, positive, artistic, creative, original fucking like album that I have ever heard. And like I would consider Mercurial Worlds their essential album before I consider Imaginal Disc a essential project. And this is just my early stages of getting into Mag Bay. And I'm grateful to say that my partner is the one who got me into them, because he was playing a song one time and I was just like, okay, I caught interest. And then I don't know, I just started hearing chatter about like Mag Bay and like they have such a cool name. I feel like an artist's name can be cringe sometimes that it like off puts me, but no, Magdalena Bay, that is such a cool artist name. And their world of music is just fucking mind blowing to me. And I love their covers. The only thing I haven't gotten into yet because I am still investing in the music culture of them is their videos. I haven't watched any single music video of theirs. And I do know that they have more bodies of work within EPs and past albums, but I want to take my time to get to really know them and enjoy what I have so far. But Mercurial World was a strong basis of this playlist that we're going to get into. Um, Selena Gomez. I said I love you. And we're gonna laugh about this because I am probably a Selena and Benny hater, low key. Not because I hate love or anything like that. It's just we all have our own opinions, and some of them are just not nice. So, like our parents have taught us, just don't say it if you don't have something nice to say. However, I can admit when I'm proven wrong. Okay. And Selena and Benny are such a cute couple, and they are probably truly made for each other. And I respect the hell out of Benny for giving Selena the atmosphere to feel fucking confident, to feel herself, to feel sexy, to feel like a woman, to feel everything. That man has put her in such a good place for her to even be in this world. They literally said, fuck whatever project your label was going to have you do and put out the shit you want. I'll do it for you, babe. And of course, they worked with some other producers, and got some of the other tracks done right. But I really loved the production of this. And I feel like people are going to intentionally hate on it. But this, I was not excited for this project. I wasn't. And I was completely proven wrong and blown away. This is such good music. It's warm, it's romantic, it's sultry. Like, I don't know what the fuck to tell you guys. And it's good through and through. There is, I don't know, like, good music is good music. It starts good, it's vulnerable where it needs to be. She told stories in very beautiful ways. And yes, I do think that they reflected on a lot of things that were past involved subject matters. And I do feel like we slightly miss more conversations about their particular romance. But I think a lot is said in the things that also are not said. And I think what speaks loudly for me is the safe space that they gave each other to create something like this. I'll say it. And that's a fucking healthy relationship. Like, and I do think that Selena's been missing that for a long time. She's been missing where to place her confidence, sexiness, and everything as a woman. And it does feel safe within her relationship now. And she's allowed. She should be 100% allowed before a man, after a man, during a man, whatever the fuck. But I am just happy that she's happy. Like straight up. And I will say this: all of the Selena hate is forced. Is forced. um, I get it. Like, not everybody's personalities are going to be everybody's cup of tea, um, and everybody can have their judgmental opinions about her as it may be. And no, our girl is not the strongest singer, but she has a sweet voice. It's very versatile. It always reminds me, for some reason, of like strawberries, and it fits perfectly in this world. And I just feel like I we've been missing such a softness to Selena for so long, because like everyone keeps trying to throw her in this like very pop segmented thing, and like I do wish they would just let her focus on how soft her voice is and her emotions, because there was a lot of resemblances that I found. For once, I've never felt this way from Selena's music, that was sort of in a way like how Lana sings and stuff. And I feel like it's a realm that they should have had her in a long time ago, because it just feels more right for her as an artist. And yeah, like there's just a natural need for sometimes us to express ourselves. And I'm sorry, but she's allowed to express herself um, as the artist that she wants to be. Um, love, I don't know, like there's so many songs off of this one that I love. Like Sunset Boulevard was so good. um I have to find it because I can't remember off the top of my head. The one thing I will say about this project is I haven't given it as much re-listens as, like, it came out and I fucking cycled that bitch for a couple of days, but March was so jam-packed with other things that like this did get lost in my focuses. um but like everything was so good. Like Younger and Hotter Than Me was vulnerable. Ojos Tristes is fucking amazing. I Don't Want to Cry is so good. Sunset Boulevard is so good. Cowboy is so good. Blue is flame is that bitch. Um, and Selena has been in the EDM game for a long time. This doesn't not make sense. And this will be played on a rooftop in the summer. I seen that shit somewhere, and I agree with y'all. Um, how does it feel to be forgotten? So good. You said you were sorry. So good. Don't take it personally. So good. Scared of Loving You. Just a cherry on top of this project. And like, there are a couple interludes here and there and stuff, right? And I don't know, it just made the world of this project. And I like love the warmth of it. And it just feels orange, like how it should. And yeah, those are my thoughts on that one. Um, I'm going to give Selena Gomez a strong 9 out of 10. I feel like that's what my gut wants to say, so that's what I'm going to say. Um Last album convo, and I swear you guys are going to like listen to real music, but Ariana Grande came out with Brighter Days as the deluxe for Eternal Sunshine. And we were not ready for this shit, y'all. It's really impressive that she was able to tap back into a world and a project that she created, you know, in secret. First of all, nobody knew that this bitch was doing all of that. And Brighter Days came after. Like, these are still like lingering emotions within the same world and concept. And Ari is at a different height. And Ari is an artist that is impressive because she is one of those artists like Gaga in such a main spotlight where it's easy to get lost in translation in a lot of things. And she remains a sweet bodied girl. And no, she's like, obviously, of course, she's not perfect, but that girl is at a place where she does finally know who she is, and what she feels, and she lets herself tap into her emotions. And Brighter Days just completely expanded this feeling, of eternal sunshine. And I did strongly for a while just listen to these tracks in rotation, and like 6 out of 6, babes. Like there is not a single bad song within Brighter Days. Um, and we just did it the other day, but it shuffles so well within the album itself. And the cover of this Brighter Days is the best Ariana album cover she has ever had. Um, the other Eternal Sunshine is really good as well. It just, I never thought I would see Ariana in a world like this. And then to create her own film, um, to do all of these really like intimate and personal things and like achieve these goals and stuff. I don't know, man. It's she's at a really admirable place right now for me. So I feel like my opinion is going to be slightly biased, but I don't know, like it's also within the music, and she has just hitting every mark. And I can't wait to see her come back to the stage, and feel what kind of energy she now has, because she is so different from where she was. And I'm just very grateful that she has taken as much time as is needed for her. And I'm glad she was able to tell this story in a way that made sense for her, and it makes sense. I don't know, man. It's easily translatable for me. Um, but yeah, those are our albums. um, let's get into our music. Let's get into our music. Okay, we have to talk about standout tracks. And here's the thing, these are my song recommendations, from me to you. So, to really talk about the opening, because we did have the most coolest structure I've ever created, within a playlist, is within this month. Um, we start off with this song called Coloratura, um, by an artist named, Ichigo Aoba. I hope that I said that right. But it's from this album called Luminescent Creatures. And I felt like that word was so perfect for this month. And this cover of theirs is blue. And it just feels like this very beautiful meditation. And so we do have that core for, I think what we said we would call it is our Elite Four, track run. And it feels like this very long, drawn out introduction, just to showcase and really highlight what you're going to kind of be hearing and experiencing. Um, and I liked this because it's just a clean bass. It slightly plays around with that like La La Land esque, ambience. And so it really came off of, that kind of energy. And it's just such a transformative, light, um, beam of like colorful blues and whites kind of song. And after this, it goes into Service Station at the End of the Universe, which I explained in our biography. But yeah, it goes through this structure, and that's very diaristic and poetic at the same time. And like, it's got this cool little beat throughout, but it's not necessarily like a full song. Like, it's got elements of what a song would be, but like, it just feels like this very introductional, conversational piece. And I felt like it was very important just because it represents a lot of the more alternative aspects within the playlist, but it also really speaks to what the title is talking about, and it really sets the tone and setting. Like, you don't necessarily need pictures and all that stuff. You just need to close your eyes and listen to the music and feel what the world is. And then we go into River. Boys advancing, something like, you'll be the best pussy of their life, of their life. They're gonna have to treat you right, treat you right. It's such a short song, and I is one of my only qualms about that record is the best songs are like 2 minutes long, and I need more. I need it all, and it is a very sexual and confident fucking song, and it's so simple, but it fucking is just it's so good. And I'm sorry, but like River is a way of life. We are the rivers, not just sexually, but everything about it. So this song does metaphorically mean a little bit more than what it says to me personally. And it does feel like a height and a standout track. And it just, mm, yes. And the last Core Forest song is really called The Beginning by Magdalena Bay. And it just has a lot of that scientific and playful sounds that um, really felt like an element of our, more spatially themed, project. This is where this one inspired me. Uh, it's cool because it's like sit back and watch the show because you're about to really start and get into the rest of this playlist, this goodness here. And then the in kaleidoscope comment, like a kaleidoscope in Technicolor tonight, a kaleidoscope is a group of butterflies, which has been such a major theme within the last couple of months. Um, and then, like that concept of Technicolor, it just, like I said, this was a very colorful playlist, and it really wanted it to feel that way. Um, but the energy of that song is very much like that throughout. And after that, you transition with Intro by Jenny and FKJ, and it's just this really good interlude that transitions into the rest of the playlist. So that felt like the really big start of this one. And this is really my lengthiest playlist that I've made in a while, and also one of probably my standout favorites as of right now. So it is really important if you guys get to check it out. But to talk a little bit about some more standout recommendations in here, um, I would recommend all all of Magdalena Bay right now, but I'm not gonna. Let's talk about Bluer Than Blue by Saint Motel, because this is really track one in my perspective after having an like extended like um prequel of sorts. With the same hardcover book. This song just speaks to such a like positive grandeur of clarity, bro. And yeah, I definitely a fucking standout track. The other one that I really want to point out would be Hosier did Who We Are off of Unreal Unearth. And that song, I mean, that album and product is such a sleeper album. But every time I revisit it, something new is just like, here's a new little root you didn't know you had. And just the way he sings it is fucking phenomenal. Like, I'm sorry, Hosier has a vocal range. Um, Pale Vegan Hit Pain is such an interesting um, title for a song, but it is a instrumental track by an artist named Mogwai, and I have not heard of them before, but it was in a song that was recommended in like my Apple recommendation music, and I feel like that's still enough of like the intimate landscape that I'm trying to pull from um, to be a part of, and it sounds like it just tells this ambient story. But yeah, not to keep on the songs too long, you guys kind of catch the vibe. But like, if I close my eyes and join you on that kind of concept, hearing that, I really get the vibe of like, culturally, the best way to say is like in Twilight when they're at the beaches and stuff, and it's just very like muted and gray and rainy and stuff. Like that's kind of the vibe I get. But this one is still a little bit more warmer and hopeful sounding within it. So I want everyone to know that like everything in this direction is leaning towards warmth. Okay? Um, a lot of other good songs, like I still was exploring Michael Kiwanako's album, Muse, of course, some more romantic things from them that really speak to how much me and my partner really celebrate our love every March. Same thing, bringing in some of Empire of the Sun, the Without You version. Um, and Ravina and Umi released Lose My Focus, which is an ever so resonating, slightly pop song, but it was nice to play around with this romanticness in this segment and then really, pull through some of the more feminine aspects. And then also play with my sexy side, which I feel like was really brought out with like Damn Right, of course, Banks, um, and Jenny. So I feel like those really spoke for that. Um, this I don't know. This one might be a standout track to me. Actually, let me pull it up. Muse, Falling Away with You. Yeah, that totally like speaks more towards like this newfound romantic confidence we have found in mine and my partner's relationship. But that is something for me and him. And yeah, so but I feel like Muse and like obviously some of Mag Bay, Empire of the Sun, like they really were pulling through a lot of those more technological sounds, and like where I say like you're gonna hear more like beams and stuff in moments, they really came and shined through with that. And then really popped back up when Jenny and Banks, I put them back to back, but we hear Soul City and Guillotine. To choose one, I suppose I think I'd like you guys to hear Guillotine a bit because it feels like another slight introduction moment in the playlist that switches up. But yeah, it speaks to a lot of that, and like she does have like quite the introduction, like or outro, in that one, and it really heads into this more Technicolor like vibe with Cherry by Mag Bay, which is this very like upbeat, dancey, like um, perspective, like confessional. Um, then I've got some Crystal Fighters who really speak to a little bit more of the spiritual aspects. We threw in some like nostalgia songs that really resonated with me, like Creature Comfort by Arcade Fire, Float On by Modest Mouse. A lot of these really speaking so well to me this month. And I found some good indie gems. One is called Sometimes by Permanent Joy, and Ambrosion by Moorish Idols. Again, songs that were really within like a recommended playlist of mine. Um, and all that really goes like I feel like a lot of feminine and masculine were really married quite well in this playlist. And there's a lot of like key switches with like interludes and stuff that are really important. So it is a long playlist, but if you're like willing to kind of go in and like start and stop with maybe like where an interlude feels kind of more like an ending for some people, it's always like that's kind of like maybe a good route. Um, Really resonated with Marine and the Diamonds Immortal this month or that month. Same thing with Lavi, Serendipity, just this pure state of happiness and bliss. And it really just kind of flows outward with some very beautiful indie songs and warm messages, and all wrapped up in a nice, cute little bow with The End by Mag Bay. And yeah, I mean, I know this isn't showing you guys a lot of this playlist, but I am trying to see like how much I can get away with like not copyright and stuff. And today's video was quite the long one. And again, these are more conversations than anything. So if like the music aspect is something you really want a part of, like I am willing to maybe just make it a more separate video at some time down the road, where it's some maybe like that's all we focus on. But I am up to kind of like any recommendations. If you guys do like the style of this, I personally do like the style of how I'm doing these, and will continue to do them this way for some time. But I am open as things expand to kind of like give things a little bit more distinction and separation, especially if we're starting to notice that like some topics just take a little bit longer than others to get through at times. Um, but yeah, like there is such a experience within this world, and I did revisit this playlist before I kind of talked about it today, so that's why I don't really want to go through all of the songs, but the playlist is there and linked in the description if you are interested. And if not, I hope you liked some of the artistic mediums we did get to talk about today. And so I hope you guys find some cute things. If you do check it out, let me know what stands out to you guys and resonates with you. With that being said, though, that is our Leaping Dimensions with Mysterious Skin um, video diary for today. And I would like, as always, to leave you all with a poem. Flown into the arms of the wind, hand in hand we laugh and smile, for we are friends with the water, the steel, and the plain. Trees seem to be calling my name from a distance in warm-toned hues. Smokescreen effect, pleasure and preservations, some kind of pact. Impostor for now, arms with regard. Beautiful for all that it's been and all that it was. Splatter the omens, inner voice resides, micro temperatures, X-wing, lightning speed. Walking in white, breathe a glass, liquid protected, seeing is meant for just some eyes.